When Global Go Live was announced at a press conference in Brooklyn, this had to be like the swankiest, best press conference ever. There was, who was there? Alicia Keys and Usher, Lars from Metallica, Chris Martin, and all those megastars spoke before Chris and I. So it pretty much had to be the worst speaking slot ever. It's kind of like if Beyonce opened up the concert and then Weezer came out. And
we were able to actually get it done as they were walking out.
But what happened was very interesting because what we did was we announced that Global Citizen and Forbes are going to work together to start as we measure billionaires and measure the richest. We're not only going to measure net worth, but we're going to talk about how philanthropic they are, and not just whether they put money in a foundation or donor advised fund, but actually how much they put to work immediately. And you know what happened? People actually, I was surprised. We got a nice applause, which, given that slot, we were on to something here. So that's kind of what we want to talk about here. Tell me, Chris. Chris is the chairman of the board of Global Citizen. Tell me about the role of Global Citizen as you see it in terms of encouraging billionaires to give more and to give faster.
Thanks, Randall. We're going to be focused really on two big elements of it. One is the need to do more, and we're going to have a standard out there for what more means, and the need to do it now. And the second thing we're going to be doing is helping people learn about the areas, the organizations that are ready today to invest in the SDGs. So when we ask them to invest, we can point them toward great organizations, many of which you've heard about here today, that are doing fantastic work in the SDGs.
For the last 5 years, Forbes has been tracking how much money billionaires actually give. And again, it's not about shifting money, putting money in the trusts or in the foundations, but it's how much is given. We did a 5-year ranking. Warren Buffett came out on top, and again, that was part of this new initiative with Global Citizen. Tell me about some of the people that you're inspired by in this mission, Chris.
Well, I guess in starting from the top, the 2,200 wealthiest people on the planet are giving away 1% of their wealth. And that's just not enough. And it's just not going to cut it. We are seeing examples of some who are doing much more, like 5, 6, 7% of their wealth a year. You look at somebody like Chuck Feeney, $8 billion, and he gave it all away. George Soros, John and Laura Arnold, Hans-Jörg Wyss, they are meeting that standard. And they're doing it because they know that the time is now. It's an urgent situation with respect to extreme poverty and climate change. And having the money sit in the bank isn't going to do anybody any good. And what they are measuring themselves on is the amount of lives they save, the amount of lives they improve, and what they do to protect and improve the health of the planet.
Well, what's interesting is you set a threshold, 5%, right?
5% is the threshold we've set.
And 5%, if you think about it, people don't become billionaires because they settle for 5%. So in some ways, you're not asking them to actually take their pile down, correct?
No, actually, it's been widely reported that with the giving the billionaires have done, if they're doing it 1% a year, that's going to guarantee, unless they're terrible investors, that their wealth just continues to grow. Most, as you pointed out, are earning much more than 5% on their billions today. And so we're not asking them to spend. Our standard doesn't ask them to spend their billions down. Our standard asks them to give us just a portion of the earnings on the billion, 5% of their net worth. So they are in the unenviable position of being able to have everything they have to increase their net worth and save millions of lives, give millions of people a chance at life, and protect the planet. It's an incredible opportunity and an incredible challenge.
An opportunity also because at a certain level, you actually can't do anything with the money. Because you can't spend, let's say you're worth $10 billion, you cannot actually physically spend $10 billion. You could buy Manchester United, and that's an asset that actually appreciates. You can buy a fleet of jets. Those are assets that appreciate or don't significantly depreciate. So you can't spend it, and if you give it to your kids, if you want to talk about ROI and outcomes, you want to see a bad outcome, give your kid $5 billion with no strings attached. That will be a bad outcome. So in some ways, this isn't really a choice, right?
No, that's right. And one of the most inspirational people I know is a former athlete, and he's a millionaire, but he's not a billionaire. And he's giving away 30 to 40% of his income each year. And he told me, I just can't give it away fast enough. It just keeps coming back to me. When I do things like this, more and more opportunities come to me. And he clearly measures himself on the impact he has on other people. And, I'm not a billionaire, but I am very wealthy. And when I think about all the gifts that wealth has given me, which has allowed me to have, live an incredible lifestyle, meet incredible people, protect my family, give to my friends, the last and greatest gift of wealth is this idea that you can change the lives of millions of people. And that's what you get to do after you've won this race. And what a much more important race to be won, and this is what brought Randall and I together, because we wanted to develop a different yardstick.
Even if you intend to give all your money away, why let a bunch of heirs that you're never going to know, great-grandchildren, bureaucrats, whoever, give away more money? It's actually, not only can you make sure that it goes somewhere, but it's something that's enjoyable.
It is something that's enjoyable. When you think about foundations, legal requirements, they give 5% away a year. That's going to ensure that that foundation's almost around forever. What if instead you gave 8 to 10? You're still going to earn such that that only draws a little bit of the foundation down a year. So you and your children can have the joy of giving that money away, and now you can be giving nearly twice as much away and having twice the impact. There's $10 trillion in the hands of the 2,200 richest people. If you just took them from 1 to 5%, that increase alone would fund the SDGs for the 59 poorest countries, the $350 billion we need. That's the scale of what they can do.
We appreciate your partnership. We're going to hear a lot more about this. But again, thanks for everything you do. You lead by example, and we appreciate it, Chris. So.
Thanks, Randall.